Well, good day, viewers, and here we are at Knowles Garden Tractors and Firewood again today. And I got the remote mic on again. We'll see how long that works, I guess, if it works at all. Nice blue sky today, look at that, eh? Yeah, nice blue sky. Temperature, I think, is about 8 degrees Celsius. And not too much wind, so not a bad day, I suppose. Great day to be hibernating. And we'll be wanting to be hibernating tomorrow. Weather statements calling for rain and wind again tomorrow. So tomorrow and into Wednesday, I guess. So anyway, and temperatures are cooling as they go through the week, I guess, a bit. So by next Saturday, I think it's supposed to be 5 degrees Celsius with rain. So it's cooling off, that's for sure. Alright, I'm going to give this a little test here before I go any further. Alright, we're back onto the John Deere no charge trouble here. So we've got the ignition switch out of the tractor now. And as you can see, maybe, I get the pointer in here, this terminal is dark compared to this one and that one and that one and that one. So that means it's getting heated. That means that the connection inside there is where it rotates around inside is probably rusted and heated and not making good connection. So and that terminal is the R terminal. That's the one that goes across and up to the middle terminal on the voltage regulator where the B is. So, and that's the terminal that when I was checking it the other day was giving me, when I turned the key, I was getting continuity, not continuity, continuity, not continuity. And it kind of looks like the thing is gone again here. So I think my mic screwed up again. So there was two mics in the package, so I got the other mic on now. We'll see what happens with it. And there's a little blue light on the mic that I can look at, but it's I got to look up to see it. So if I don't see it going out, then I don't know it's off, I guess. But anyway. So on we go here, I guess. So yeah, I'm sure that I got connection troubles in there. So what else are we going to do today? Oh, these two wires go to the stator, and there's a connector here. So I found this connector on the tractor. And that's it right there. And this wire here and this wire here go to the stator. So I put a lead from my tester in there, and a lead from my tester in there, and I got the 0.4 ohms, the same as I did when I checked it at the end of those two wires. So that tells me that these two wires are good from there down to here. There's no resistance or no more resistance in these two wires from this location to the end of this location. So the 0.4 ohms is rate testing the stator. And Joseph says that that's not real bad, but it's not real good, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I kind of think it'll still charge, but may not be as much as it could be. I think that's probably what's going on. So now what happens to the stator, I don't know. I guess the wire being 55 years old and current going through all them years, I'd say the wire is probably getting, I don't know what you call that, but it's getting anyway. So anyway, just have to put up with it, I guess. So as in order to fix that, motor has to come out, and I don't want to do that. So, and you would have to find a stator to try to fix it. So, and that may not be easy. Now, I don't know if a person could actually rewind the stator. I'm sure an electrical place could probably rewind the coils. They'd all have to have the same amount of wire wrapped around them or whatever, but and wired up tightly, I guess. But anyhow, there's where I'm kind of at here at the moment. So my next move is I need a ignition switch, I would say. So I'll just shut this off here so it doesn't kill the battery. And my little blue light is still on here for the microphone, so it's still working, I guess. So yeah, my next move I think for today is, being that this, we know this is no good. So my theory is to take it apart and fix it. So I've done a few of them in the past, and I haven't done one in a while, but you just have to bend back this outside lip all the way around, and all this comes off. And you try not to break the outside lip too much, because when you put it back together, you got to have something to kind of bend back over to hold it in place. But I'm sure I could put a little bit of goop on it to help hold it there. So that's what the next plan is. So I'm going to take that apart. So I'm just going to work my way around here with the channel lock pliers. It takes a little bit of doing, but you can kind of see the edge of the plastic there now, right there. So if I just keep on going, and I'll have it so I can get it out. So I'll get back to you when I get it out. So only about a minute or so has gone by, and I've got it pretty well almost out. I still got to do a little bit more maybe around here, but anyway, the thing I do is I'd make a reference point so I know where this goes back in at. So I made a little scratch mark on the case here and lined it up with the B right there, so I know where it's going to go. Now, let's see if this will come out of there. There we go. There, when you do that, all the strings and everything fall out. So you have to be prepared for that. So you can kind of see the dark terminals there. All the strings and everything falls out, so you got to try and refigure how that all works now. All right, I'll get back to you. All right, I'm going to try and show you, if I can, where things rub at here. Where are we at here? So you can see a spot there where it's kind of gone back and forth. Same thing over here. So what that's from is this little bump here. I'd like to leave my hand solid. There we go. That bump right there is what rubs on the center part there. I can show that. Right there, where it goes back and forth. Another one here. So all you got to do here is act naturally. Anyway, you just got to take a little bit of sandpaper or something and clean up that surface and that other surface that I showed you. Now, these surfaces here, I guess while I'm at it here, so yeah, you got to clean up the little bump. That little bump there, you got to clean that up, and then clean that up there. Then you got to clean all of these terminals, and then you got to clean, that's where the terminals run on, right there. They go across that. On both of those, there's two of these, right? So that's what you got to clean up. It just takes a little bit of sandpaper and just a light cleaning, and that's it. So I'll show you when I get it done here. All right, mic seems to be still on and working, I guess. So another thing I do is with the springs, those little springs, in those little spots there. It's hard to see there, I guess, but what I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease in there. Oh, the other thing I'm going to do before I put them in is just take those little springs and just wee little pressure and just pull them apart, just to you know what, just to give them a little more tension to push upward. There. So now we put that back in there. And the reason why I'm doing that is it might help not to lose them. No matter what kind of grease you put in. And like I say, just pull them apart just a little bit, not too much, just to kind of give them a little extra. Just so they'll spring up tighter, maybe. So you have to remember everything is old. I don't know if this switch is the original or not. It may not be. I don't know. Well, so there we have the grease in there, and those are in, and we stretch those there, and all that kind of stuff. So that should be good. So then you take these, and I'm going to also do, you can see, I'm still coughing, so excuse me. Take this part here, and somebody has put grease on this before. Now, whether that's from the factory or somebody else has had it apart, but I kind of doubt somebody has had it apart by the look of the ring around here. It didn't look like it was ever moved. So yeah, the next thing I guess is clean that up. I put a little bit of brake clean on the rag and just kind of clean the stuff off of that. And I'm going to do the same thing to those. Back in a minute. Alright, we got her cleaned up here now. Let's see if I can get the zoom back on a bit maybe. So we got that cleaned up. And we got this cleaned up. And all I used was a little bit of steel wool. And then re-cleaned everything with the brake clean. This poor old steel wool has been around. My father had that in his garage. So there you go. That tells you how old that is. Alright, so great stuff. Thanks, Dad. Now, what are we going to put in there for lubrication? My first thought would be dielectric grease, so I'll have to see if I can find some of that. And the other thing I would use would be just the grease that I took out of my little grease gun here. Kind of hard to get everything in the camera in the spot I'm at there, yeah. That little grease gun. That's a dandy little gun, that. That was for a snap-on 3/8 air drive ratchet, and that's what you would put in the head of the ratchet and squeeze a little bit of grease into it. Anyway, when the buggers came and stole it, they didn't take that. So hopefully it broke on them. What? Yeah, I know, I'm a mean bugger, that's for sure. Alright, I'll get back to you here in a minute. I gotta find some dielectric grease. So that's what I'm going to use. I just happened to find that. Look at that. Silicone lubricant. Seals, waterproofs, insulates, dielectric grease, O-ring lubricant. So I'd say that's the stuff to use. That poor old tube has been around here for... I don't think my father would have had it, but I wouldn't doubt that it's been that long since it's been around. Alright, we'll get back to you again now in a minute. So inside of here, I took that apart too, reluctantly, but I did. There's two springs like that, and they go up into holes in the plastic like they do from underneath, and they sit on top of two balls. So as you turn the key, the spring in these allow the thing to go around, and it goes click, and it stays in its spot in the run position. And then you go to start, and the spring loads back to run. And then you go to off, and it stays in its spot. So the two springs here operate on those two balls, and they go up and down and hold everything in place. So now we have the dielectric grease on this part here, and on those two parts, and those are set on the two springs that I put in there that have the grease in the bottom of them to hold them in place. So now we got to try and get this back in here without everything going kafooey. I'll be back to you. Alright, so we got it back in there. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it in. It has to all sit in a certain way. So now the thing is to get this outside edge all bent back over that white part. That's the next thing. Now you got to continue to hold on to that, because if you don't, it'll spring out. So I'm going to try and do some fancy hammer in here, I guess. I'll put that in here and we'll kind of just tap. Make sure it's in place when you're doing that. There, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's good and tight. I don't think it'll fall out, so I'm going to do a little test on it to make sure it works before I give it the final whack, and then I'll bring you back. Or I might bring you back while I'm trying to do the test, maybe. Yeah. All right, here we are. We're going to give her a little test just to see if we get any continuity where we want it. So in the off position, there shouldn't be any continuity other than where this is hooked to on the B terminal. So in the run position, I should have continuity in the R terminal, and let me see now. I'm not sure about the A. It should be, yeah, maybe the A terminal too, because it's accessory, I think. And ignition, I should have it there too. And start, I shouldn't have it. Okay, so on start, we should have it on the R. We shouldn't have it on the A for accessories. We should have it on ignition. And we should have it on start. All right, so all that's working. Now, if I hold it on the R position while in the run position, I should say, hold the tester on the R terminal, and we have it in the run position. Now, if you remember, if I started moving the key before, I'd lose continuity. Oops. And I'm not losing any continuity. I can move the key back and forth and try to get it out of its normal sitting position, and the continuity is still there. Whereas before it would lose it, even just touching the key without even turning it. So that's a fix. far as I'm concerned. Well, these little alligator clips are come in some handy. I got 2 of them in that package there, and handy to hold the probe onto something if you wanted to, instead of trying to do with about 6 hands. All right, that's good. So that is a fix as far as I'm concerned. It's just as easy as that. I may order a new one and just to have it, because I think it might also fit Kablooey, maybe. But there would be similarities to different garden tractors with these. It's all the same, basically. Anyhow, just like that. So I'm going to clean the terminals too. I'll get the steel wool and I'll clean all them terminals. So that's good. That's very good. And I'll finish tapping that around to make sure it's tight, and then I'll put a little bit of that dielectric grease around there to seal it instead of the goop, maybe. I might put some dielectric grease into the plug that goes onto these, and then that part will be fixed, and we'll give it a go. Hopefully on the next video I'll try that. Alright, so that's good for now. So have a great day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing.